Hello, my name is Gary Maloney here for Sacktown Slam, and here is your post Monday Night Raw review results. Okay, I'm gonna just come out here and just say this right now, just because I don't think the WWE understands how people feel. No one gives two shits or even one shit about Enzo Amore or Enzo Abore. You want to sit there and go out there and call the cruiserweight division the snoozerweight division? Oh, I'm sorry, says the guy who kicks someone right in the balls to win the title and has no wrestling skills and won against Big Cass on a technicality and sat there and couldn't fight with another guy even if they were handcuffed. This is the most ridiculous fucking storyline I have ever seen. Enzo is an abomination to the sport of fucking wrestling. I heard that one of the vaudevillains, the guy that got fired, not Aiden English, but the other guy, he called freaking Enzo Amore an abortion and said that he was one of the most annoying guys ever. And that, on other podcasts, where Roman Reigns, and where he was talking about Enzo and him getting thrown off the bus, and that, when guys are out of line and he has to swing the sword, that he's exactly what he's going to do, swing the sword. I don't know what they're doing with this guy. I don't know what their quote-unquote thought process is with this guy, but it's not good. And, when people were talking about what had happened to him last week, where he got the crap beat out of him by not just Braun Strowman, but the entire cruiserweight division, people were chanting, "You deserve it." As in, he deserved to get his ass beat. Not "you deserve the title, you freaking dolt." It never amazes me how WWE just likes to spin garbage and try to make you think that's what the fans thought, when that was obviously not what they were thinking. They were obviously happy that he was getting his ass handed to him by a division more adept at wrestling than Enzo. So it takes Enzo to get the cruiserweights on the final segment of the show. Meanwhile, these guys have 0 matches during the entire course of the show. Thus, it is boring as fuck. And you have a bunch of matches that mean nothing and a bunch of promo segments that essentially mean 0. So, I don't know where WWE's head is at. Obviously, without the great and powerful Brock Lesnar, they're running out of ideas. Like, are you seriously going to tell me right now you're going to push the cruiserweight title by putting it on Enzo Amore? That's not how you push that title. If you were going to push that title, you should have been pushing it while it was on Neville. And if you wanted to push it with someone else, you should have pushed it when you first put it on Akira Tozawa. Not put it on Neville by having him kick someone in the balls. I'm sorry, but Enzo sucks. Period. He's annoying. He don't know how to wrestle. And if he doesn't know now, he don't want to learn. Because he thinks that his mic skills are going to get him everywhere in the WWE. There's going to come a point in time where his mic skills are not going to save him. And he's going to fall further and further and further down the card to where he is irrelevant. Which I will be happy about. But unfortunately, by that time, the Cruiserweight division may be irrelevant, which I don't want to see. Because these guys are fucking incredible athletes. I want to see my flippy dip shit, okay? I do not want to see it taken away from me by some big-mouthed New Jersey bastard who thinks that he is better than everyone else. It's like Simon Gotch said, he is an abortion to this business. Or aberration would be the correct way to pronounce that. He sucks so bad. He needs to go. His shtick is having the reverse effect on fans. Wonder who that sounds like. Roman Reigns. But, you cannot put cat food in a bag of Chinese food and call it meat. Because that is not meat. That is cat food. I don't care what you want to call it. And if it is digestible, blah, 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 I am sorry, I'm not going to eat cat food. And that's what this feels like WWE is doing to us as of late. In fact, their great idea for TLC is, let's have a Shield reunion since Brock didn't want to get up off his ass and would rather go hunting. Like, if this guy's not even going to defend his title at least once a month, then why the hell do you have him? Just check, please. Like, why am I subscribing if your top champion is just like, nah, I'm gonna, take my ball and go home and go shoot some innocent animals because I live in Minnesota. You know what? Get the fuck out of here. Brock Lesnar is the biggest pussy in the WWE. No questions about it. I am sorry, but if you think you are UFC ready and you're not even willing to defend your WWE Universal title once a month, you're not even willing to fight on Raw. At least Roman Reigns is willing to fight on Raw and proves that he has the in-ring ability. I mean, he's leaps and bounds behind certain talent in mic ability. In fact, half that locker room has better mic skills than he does. But at least his in-ring skills are more than passable. I don't care what anyone says about that. But I don't like the way Raw's being booked, especially now. I mean, tonight's episode was a perfect example of this, and I will point out each and every example as I go through this. Because I'm not going to sit here and read somebody's jargon about what they think or don't think. I'm just going to not just give you my 2 cents. I'm going to give you the whole damn dollar. Because Raw does not belong in the shithole it is in. This is a disgrace. It is a disgrace heading into Survivor Series. It is a disgrace heading into WrestleMania season, being that it is the end of the year. It is a disgrace going into a time where they're sitting there like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do for ratings? Oh, I have an idea. Let's bring back Stephanie McMahon, which is apparently a thing now. First of all, Stephanie McMahon will not do you any good. The only thing you did right after WrestleMania, as far as Raw goes, in that sense, Kurt Angle being your GM is like the only one constant that you need to keep. No one cares about this Jason Jordan crap. Get it over with, get it done, and then just let it be. If it catches on, then fine. If it does not catch on, which I mean, they brought this out, I want to say June, and it's been June, July, August, September. So we're heading into, we're heading into their October pay-per-view, and I just, who cares? Jason Jordan is dime store freaking wrestler. He's a good wrestler, but he needs serious promo work. I mean, him and Roman Reigns, as much as I hate to say it, they're on the same level when it comes to the ability to do a damn promo, because they are very bad at it. Then you have Jeff Hardy, who could be out until, from what I have been reading from sources like Wrestling Observer, which is a big thing, they're saying he could be out until WrestleMania. So where does this leave Matt? I mean, tonight they had Matt and Jason Jordan as a tag team. I'm hoping that this is not a permanent situation for Matt, because Matt, I hope that this is why Roman Reigns did not win, and spoiler alert, did not win the Intercontinental title tonight. Because I hope they give that to Matt. Because Matt deserves it. Because I am tired of The Miz. Granted, Miz had a great run with it at the end of last year, going into the beginning of this year. I don't care what anybody thinks about what he and Dean Ambrose did. That was a good run. Especially for Dean. Because that sort of, I don't know who out there saw the Stone Cold podcast where he told Dean, oh, you're resting on your laurels. That brought him out of that funk. And now you saw him getting crushed by Baron Corbin by a freaking forklift. That brought him out of that funk. So, why are they doing, and why are they going in the direction they're going in? I will tell you this right now. First of all, Rollins and Strowman, you all know how this went. I guess I will leave it to this last paragraph. Strowman throws Rollins across the ring, sends him rolling outside. Strowman goes out after him and throws him into the ring post. Strowman tries to launch Rollins into the ring post, but again, Rollins slides off his back and pushes Strowman into it. Rollins rolls back into the ring and then hits a suicide dive out onto Strowman. Rollins manages to get Strowman back into the ring. He hits a couple of springboard clotheslines and staggers the monster. He finally executes a blockbuster, and that puts Strowman down. Rollins follows up with a super kick, and Strowman stands, and that makes Strowman take a knee. Rollins lands another super kick to the kneeling Strowman. As Rollins moves in, Strowman suddenly explodes and delivers a power slam onto Rollins for a pinfall winner, Braun Strowman. Like anything else was going to happen. Now, before I get on to anything else, I do want to say, I didn't even know what had happened in Las Vegas on Sunday night until I saw the moment of silence on Raw, because Sunday night I was super busy and I didn't have a chance to watch the news today. I found out this afternoon when Raw started, or evening, I suppose, here on the West Coast. But that was a wow. I mean, hearing about it, and I just want to say to anyone that was affected by this, my heart goes out to you. There's a lot of fucking nut jobs out there, and, blame it on whatever or whoever you want. It was not a good thing at all. As far as I'm concerned, is another nut job that is completely obviously stupid and suicidal. If you're going to go into a country concert, think you're going to fire off an automatic weapon on God knows how many people and get away with it, because obviously they didn't. So, this is just, it's sad. It's very sad to see the state of affairs in my country, in the United States. No matter where you go, something is just got to give here. And I don't mean us giving in to the terrorists, because that sure as shit ain't happening. And shooting and injuring 500 people and killing over 50 that is not acceptable. And I guarantee that is, I mean, when is this, when are we going to learn politically that we have bigger problems on our hands than guys in sports leagues sitting down during the national anthem to protest? If our government forces had been focused in on a guy like this with automatic weapons in a state like Nevada, things may have come out differently. But no, our president would rather tweet and get us nuclearly bombed and in a nuclear holocaust than take care of things like this. So, normally, I would not lash out or protest like this at all, because I don't really like getting involved in politics. But I applaud WWE, regardless of whom Vince is friends with, for at least giving them a moment of silence at the beginning of the show. That was a very, very good gesture on WWE's part. And Vince was out there with those guys. That was huge, because via storyline, he's not even supposed to be existing right now, but he had the cojones to go out there and say, the hell, I'm not going to go out there and give a moment of silence for those people. So, you know what, props to Vince on that one. Anyway, after that was when the Rollins, experiment for Strowman. I mean, was this going to end any other way? Like, everyone knew, at this point, why even have Strowman on fucking television? Package him back with Bray Wyatt, at least for the moment, and just do something else with him. Because as far as I am concerned, why do we care? What are we supposed to be caring about with Strowman until that title comes back into play? Which I guess isn't going to happen until November. But here's the problem. You know, Mr. Brock Lesnar, I'm the Brock Lesnar, I'm the Women's Revolution, which we will also get to later. But, Brock Lesnar, who wants to fight Finn Balor, which I get I get some of the logic here, not the actual logic, because Finn Balor is not a believable winner against Brock Lesnar. He's not. If you can F5 Braun Strowman one time and get a win, it's not even going to take one F5 to get a win against Finn Balor. In fact, Finn Balor is probably going to get destroyed at Survivor Series. I would think that this match would more than likely, parody in many ways the match Goldberg had with Brock. It will probably last less than 3 minutes. Brock will destroy Finn Balor, and Balor is, I don't know. Honestly, I think that whole thing is a waste of time. If you want to give Balor a title shot, give him a shot when he has a shot. Not when, my name is Brock Lesnar, wants to sit there and call the shots because he has $1 million fucking contract. Anyway, back to the show. After the match, Strowman does another power slam to Rollins for good measure before walking away, and then Dean Ambrose's music hits, and he runs out to help his partner, scrap in the ring, and then Ambrose gets power slammed 2 times. This is my question. And I really do have this question. You have Rollins and Ambrose being destroyed by everyone. You have Roman Reigns being destroyed by everyone. You had that scene at the very end of the show. Are you leading this up to them just going out and destroying everyone again? Because if that's your game, I'm all in. I did not want to see the Miztourage be the only opponents for the Shield. I want to see the Shield destroy and, well, not literally decapitate, but just incinerate everything in their path. I do not want to see the Miztourage the Shield walk all over the Miztourage and then have it be done with. Because that is a waste of a reunion for the Shield. It is. I mean, do not sit here and try to tell me it is not. Because it is. The Miztourage are dime store pieces of shit that they have at the bottom of their roster with your Bo Dallas that looks like he's from fucking some gangster biker bar, and then Curtis Axel, who has been through so many character changes, he needs to go talk to the Big Show about not doing that. So, I don't get it. I mean, this has just been such an awkward end to the year for WWE on both shows. The only thing that is a constant anymore is NXT. Now, Mickie James, and this was one of the funnier segments, so I will go ahead and read this. Mickie James is walking through the backstage area, and some of the other women are snickering at her. Emma finally tells her coyly that even at Mickie James's age, she still has a secret admirer. Someone left her a present in her locker room. And Mickie goes in, and this was funny. Because Emma was laughing at her, Emma was laughing at her, Alicia Fox was laughing at her, it was just, this was hilarious. It really was. Mickie James went into her locker room and found a bag of Depends and a freaking walker that had like the tennis balls on the bottom of them. You know, those dime store walkers that people just make. I mean, it was hilarious. Mickie James storms out of the Raw women's locker room and asks where Alexa Bliss's locker room is, but Nia answers the door when she gets there and says that Bliss is afraid of Mickie and too fragile, so she can't come through. Jax doesn't mind if she's fragile and challenges Mickie to a match, which Mickie accepts. After that, there was some spooky shit with Bray Wyatt. I'm not entirely sure why, but whatever. It was just Bray Wyatt being Bray Wyatt. So, such is that. Then after the commercial break, you had a match with Elias versus Titus O'Neil. I will give you $5. If I won't even give you 5, I'll give you 2 cents if you figure out who won that one. It was Elias. Here's my problem with this. Where are you going with this? Like, what's the point here? He's beaten Apollo Crews twice. Now he's beaten Elias. As far as I am concerned, this is over. I mean, if you cannot win against a guy and you have this many losses, it is time to move on for the betterment of the roster. Having different matches on the roster keeps people relevant. And if you want to keep Titus Worldwide relevant, then you need to stop jobbing him and his associates out to people such as Elias. Not that Elias is bad at wrestling or at his promos or anything else that he does, because he is very good at it and he's moving up the ranks. But I think the whole Titus Worldwide Elias thing needs to come to an end. I would love to see Elias go into a program, a shorter program than what has happened between Finn Balor and Bray soon here. I would like to see Elias versus Bray. I know that's heel versus heel, but you only have so many pieces of talent on your roster. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Elias versus... God, I don't know. Heath Slater? I mean, come on. He was the one-man band, so... It's as good a choice as any at this point for Elias, because any win is a good win for Elias, because that's just going to move up his standing. I don't think there's any saving Apollo Crews unless you send him back down to NXT. And at this point, Elias, there's no saving him unless you repackage him back as, you know, as back with Darren Young. I mean, you have to package him back with Darren Young. Maybe Darren Young will join Titus Worldwide. I don't know. But at this point, it just feels like a lost cause. And this whole thing it felt like a lost cause. It was a short match. And as soon as he got his leg around him for that drift away, That's about how short the match was. I think the match was pretty close to about 4 minutes. I mean, this was short. So it just, but yeah, it really wasn't that good. And if you're going to continue to push Elias, I'm okay with that because he's great with his promos. His promo was great tonight. I mean, I don't have a problem with the guy. He gets real heat. My issue is how you're booking him, which has been like shit since you've known that he's getting himself over. Now, the last few guys that have gotten themselves over that you did not want to get themselves over, you have either embarrassed or fired. WWE, don't make me bring up Damian Sandow. Don't make me bring up Cody Rhodes. Don't make me bring up all these other names that I could bring up. You know, your Gail Kims and your freaking, just don't make me bring it up because there are so many names as in past, present, in the future. I mean, the cruiserweights, they were getting themselves over during the Cruiserweight Classic. But right after the Cruiserweight Classic, what did you do? You buried them sons of bitches. And now they're answering to Enzo Abore? Enzo the Aberration? Enzo, his mama should have freaking smacked him in the head a few times. Because that fool... Nah. I'm sorry. Then you had Nia Jax versus Mickie James. This was, as much as I hate to say this was probably the best match of the night. I mean, not that I dislike, women's wrestling. It's just that a Raw going up against Monday Night Football should have way more to offer. I mean, I would be shocked to find out that this did a 2.5 in Nielsen at all. Like, this, more than likely, I mean, this Raw is going to be absolutely awful. I fell asleep during the last half of Raw. That's how bad it was. And I don't normally fall asleep during wrestling at all. But this was just awful. Anyway, Alexa Bliss comes out to ringside to watch the match. Bell sounds. Jax bowls over Mickie as she's distracted by Bliss. Jax whips Mickie into the corner and then tosses her across the ring. Mickey's throat is draped across the bottom rope, and Jax puts her foot down on the back of Mickey's head, choking her. Then applies a bear hug. And while she was doing that, she was like, "You want to call Life Alert? Dig! Why don't you just call a Life Alert?" The people that are like, "I've fallen and I can't get up." That kind of taunting her like that, like she's some kind of fragile old lady. Give me a break. If that's the best you can come up with, maybe, but that's not the bar. The bar should be set a lot higher, and it feels like Nia Jax, for her heel promo skills, needs, a little bit more work. Anyway, Mickie tries to get out of the bear hug, then Jax scoop slams her. Jax starts working on Mickey's arm. Mickie stands and tries to turn the tide, but Jax sends her flying out of the ring. Mickie is trying to put something together, she starts landing some shots on Jax and has her reeling against the ropes. Mickie is building up, but suddenly Jax slams her and stops the momentum abruptly. She pins, but Mickie escapes and starts coming back again. She lands some shots and drop kicks Nia Jax to her knees. Jax explodes and drives Mickie back into the corner. She puts Mickie on the top rope, but then Mickie fights her off, and she did this by first she kicked her in the head, then she used both feet and kicked her in the head, and then she put her arm around her head, and I'm like, oh boy, you know what's about to happen when that happens. Either somebody's about to get press slammed or somebody's about to get DDT'd. And sure enough, Mickie James took Nia Jax for a tornado DDT. It looked very good. I mean, Mickie James does not look like she has missed a beat since last November when she fought Asuka. I am very happy about that. Mickie pins, but then Bliss runs in and attacks her, causing the ref to disqualify Nia Jax. So Bliss and Mickie fight at ringside, and Mickie lands a mitt kick that levels Bliss to the floor. Her music plays, and she taunts Bliss and Jax before leaving. Okay, then they had a very short segment before they went to commercial, which was dumb because they were just asking Enzo, well, how do you feel about getting the shit jumped out of you last week? Enzo did not say or do anything. It was just, Enzo being Enzo. So it was like, whatever, I don't pity you. I'm glad you got your ass whipped. You don't deserve to be there to begin with. Mickie James is interviewed, and this is the problem with Enzo's push. I am not going to feel any sort of anything towards a pity angle for Enzo because he got his ass whipped by his fellow superstars. Either he's a heel or he's a face. You can't have both. It doesn't work that way in pro wrestling, especially when you can't do any wrestling moves. Whatever this is, my hope is that it's over by Survivor Series. Because it just, I think, and this is the other thing too. Regardless of what people want to claim that Enzo is doing for 205 Live, he's not doing anything. I looked at the last 4 weeks of 205 Live since he quote unquote won the title, First week, he did raise the bar. Not much. I mean, it was like the 12th rated show. Then it went back to normal, and the last 2 weeks it's gone down. I'm sorry, but that is not raising the bar. You're not doing anything to help the cruiserweights. You're burying the division even more. You need to just fire Enzo. Just do it. Rip off the Band-Aid. Just like I keep saying, rip off the Band-Aid with Jinder Mahal and your crap about xenophobia. It's called racism. Stupid morons. But the fact of the matter is that, with Enzo, it's not a storyline problem This is an in-ring problem, and those are much, much harder to fix when you can't just creatively fix it. This is a problem that you're going to have to either send him back down to NXT for like at least a year to retrain him, or you're just going to have to tell him hit the bricks till you know what you're doing. And I get the feeling that by the end of the year, it's going to be hit the bricks. And Big Cass is, and I don't know when Enzo's actual contract expires. That's something that I'm not aware of. But if I'm WWE, I take him off TV. You have him drop the title to, I guess, Kalisto, considering what happened in the last segment, though it makes not a lot of sense to take a rematch clause away from Neville, unto which he never got a rematch. I mean, is that going to be their way around the rematch? Because last week Enzo said, if you break this, you void your rematch. I mean, whatever stupid thing WWE wants to cook up, that's like, like the Straight Street Profits and NXT. They just want to mix shit together and make it not make sense. I mean, that's only going to make 205 Live an even worse show than it already is. I mean, my friend, Ivan seems to think 205 Live is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and so is Enzo. My opinion, Enzo is the worst fucking thing in WWE since Kurt Hawkins. Okay? Enzo is garbage. I don't care what he can or can't do on the mic. At this point, if you cannot wrestle, you do not belong in a wrestling ring. You are not a tag team partner anymore. You are a singles wrestler, which means you need to be able to wrestle. Yes, there are heel wrestlers out there. There are great heel wrestlers out there. Look at the Revival. Look at the Club. Look at the original Shield. Holy shit. Those were great. Look at Bobby Roode. I mean, I know he's playing a face right now on SmackDown and a heel on NXT, but still, look at his heel work on NXT. Could he back it up? Abso-fucking-lutely. Enzo sucks. Enzo does not deserve a spot on the roster. Enzo does not deserve a spot in WWE. Enzo is one of those guys that wouldn't even deserve a spot in TNA or Global Force or whatever the hell they're calling themselves these days. I mean, Enzo belongs in the indie scene learning how the fuck to wrestle. Because the fact is if the best you got is a kick to the balls, then you're just depriving the fans of a real match. Because that's not a real match. That's not, I'm a heel. Because heels can do a lot more than hit people in the balls. There's or poke people in the eye. There's a lot more than that goes into being a heel. Just ask guys like Braun Strowman or Samoa Joe. Or, I mean, those are the guys that are going to get remembered. Those are the guys that are going to be great. I mean, you look at the Revival. Do you want to know why they've been gone for so long and why people are just clamoring for them to come back? Because they were good wrestlers. And the WWE Tag Team division needs good wrestlers, especially with Jeff out until potentially WrestleMania. So, yeah, good wrestling is what will get you in. Not eye pokes and kicks to the crotch. Doesn't work that way, Enzo. And I guarantee sooner or later you will figure that out. Now, after Mickie James won, she's interviewed backstage, and Raw general manager Kurt Angle enters the picture and tells her that she earned herself a title shot at TLC. Here's my thoughts on that. One, I guess, I don't think she really earned it, but Alexa Bliss has gone through everyone on that Raw roster. She fought everyone at SummerSlam. What's the point? It feels to me like, she didn't fight everyone at SummerSlam. Excuse me. She did not fight Mickie James, and she did not fight Dana Brooke. Though Dana Brooke, I have a feeling, is going to be out for a while just because she's, her boyfriend just died not too long ago. I don't know where the WWE stands on her right now, so it's going to be wait and see kind of a thing with her. As far as Mickie James, she is just one of those underutilized people. And I think that, do I think she deserves it? Not really, because since her move to Raw, she has not done much, and she has not been pushed much. So, but when you have a champion that's just blown through everyone, it is very awkward. Now, if I were to venture to guess, since Asuka is showing up at this pay-per-view, one of two things is going to happen. One, Alexa Bliss is going to win, and then Asuka's going to kick her ass, thus putting her in a beeline for the title, because she's undefeated. They'll probably put her in a couple jobber matches with Emma, or amongst other opponents unto which one of the interesting things is that she has fought almost every single woman in that Raw roster. So make no mistake about it. It is not a mistake that she went to Raw. It is because she has ring chemistry with people like Emma, like Dana Brooke, like Nia Jax, like Mickie James, like Bayley. The only person on that roster she has never faced is Sasha Banks. That's it. So when it comes down to it, I think they made the right choice when it comes to opponents. Now, do I trust Bucktooth McGee and, Mr. Kevin Dumbass to make the right choices? Fuck no. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if they had her in her first match lose to Mrs. I'm the Women Revolution. I'm the Women Revolution. Not that, it would shock me, but I would be disappointed. I hold out zero hope for her on Raw. SmackDown is where she should have gone because she's more desperately needed on SmackDown than she is on Raw. Raw has an elite level of pieces from the last one or two classes, whereas SmackDown really has the leftovers of the last two classes of NXT. So I really feel, and the Divas, division, which is no longer in existence. So that tells you how old some of them are. But, you know, I feel like there are some things that could be better. I mean, the only person on SmackDown that, though, unfortunately, that would be even worth Asuka's time would be Charlotte. Which, you know, that may be why they moved her to Raw. Bigger talent, bigger names, bigger competition. But in terms of what's going to happen at TLC, I see it in one of two ways. Either there's going to be 2 women's title matches in one night, or Asuka's going to call out whoever wins that TLC match. Which, if that happens, if the latter is the case, I almost want to say that it'll be Alexa Bliss. And this is the other thing. I don't understand why Nia is still allied with Alexa Bliss. Like, she literally tried to screw you over more than once at that match at SummerSlam. And yet you're going to still ally yourself? Like, what is the reasoning? This is another thing that I have to bring up with storytelling. Your storytelling makes no sense. WWE's writing makes no sense. It's just, take it for what it is. Like Goldust, or last week, said, well, why can't you just watch our product and enjoy it? Well, it's hard to enjoy something that A, makes no sense, and B, most importantly, has no bearing, essentially, on what happens, especially in the upper card. Like, when you have a guy like Brock Lesnar with the title, do you think I'm going to give 2 shits about what happens on the lower card when your upper card isn't even going to be defended at TLC? Give me a reason to care. Like, legit. Because if you're going to hold the title in purgatory until WrestleMania, which appears to be the plan, they really need to not. I mean, the obviousness of this is starting to become shocking. Because you've got 2 more of your big 4 to go until WrestleMania. Survivor Series and Royal Rumble. Survivor Series, I don't think anyone's going to care about anyway. That pay-per-view has been on the decline for the last 10 years. It has not done well over the last 5. So, I mean, last year, I liked the whole brand supremacy thing. I think they need to go back to that. If they do not this year, that will be a disappointment. But they need to make something happen to make me care about Survivor Series. Otherwise, it's just another B-level pay-per-view. I mean, am I wrong? Am I the only fan that thinks this? I mean, feel free. Leave me comments. If I'm being the stupid one here, call me out. Call me out. Because at this point, I'm tired of just sitting here and ranting and raving and not having people respond. Respond. Tell me I'm wrong. Because at this point, I don't think I am. Anyway, and of course, this thing has to freeze at the absolute wrong time. Come on. What is going on here? Of course, this is going to be a problem. Well, okay, anyway, the point is that this is a very, very big pay-per-view, and TLC will most likely make or break WWE based on what ends up happening in it. I don't necessarily see it being an impressive pay-per-view unless they like go full bore with the Shield, which I don't know if they're going to do. I would hope so. Um Anyway, after Mickey James's match, you had Matt Hardy and Jason Jordan versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. This is another disappointment of the night because here you are with an opportunity now to start building that broken Matt character, and instead you're going to team him with Jason Jordan. Why? Because Jason Jordan is as boring as watching fucking paint dry? Is that why? Or is it because you want to push the club? Because I would think that after the stunt that the Bullet Club pulled last Monday outside of your show, it feels to me like you would want to not push these guys. Anyway, I'm just going to read the last paragraph here. Gallows hits a bulldog while simultaneously hitting Anderson with a... Gallows... Okay, Jordan finally makes some space and gets a tag to Matt, who starts unloading on Gallows and Anderson. He hits Gallows with a bulldog while simultaneously hitting Anderson with a clothesline. Matt spikes Gallows with a tornado DDT and then follows up with an elbow drop. He pins, but Anderson breaks the pin. Jordan comes in and drives Anderson from the ring. There's a scrap outside, and then Anderson throws Jordan into the barricade. Back in the ring, and Gallows and Anderson execute a magic killer on Matt for the 3 count. Carls and Anderson win. Yeah. Why do I care? Yeah, I mean, that's about as much as that match was. I think the match was 5 minutes. Anyway, we go to the Intercontinental title match. So, bell sounds for the introductions, but Reigns rolls outside and takes out the Miz Taraj immediately. He hits some Superman punches on Bo Dallas, and he also hits some Superman punches on Curtis Axel. Reigns goes under the ring and comes out with a steel chair in hand. The Miz Taraj is retreating. Damn it. Miz Taraj is retreating. Though the crowd and Reigns go after them, he catches up to them at the main stage and cracks Curtis Axel with a big chair shot. Bo Dallas attacks Reigns from behind and tries to help Axel, but Reigns returns with a Superman punch. Then Reigns unloads with a barrage of merciless chair shots on both of them. When he's satisfied, he eyes up the Miz, who is looking frightened in the ring. Reigns cuts his eyes and gains a sadistic grin as he starts marching toward the ring. Back again, the bell sounds to officially begin the match. Reigns beats Miz out of the ring and throws him into the barricade a few times. Miz rolls into the ring to break the ref's count and rolls outside again as Reigns comes after him. Reigns tries to follow, but Miz sweeps his legs on the apron and then throws him into the steel steps. Miz throws Reigns over the barricade into the crowd and then rolls back into the ring and lets the ref start counting. Reigns stands up and stumbles his way back to the ring. As he gets in, Miz plants him with a DDT for a 2 count. Miz bounces off the rope and kicks Reigns square in the face and then applies a rear chin lock. Reigns' throat is draped on the second rope, and Miz jumps on the back of him to drive Reigns' throat into it. Damn. Back again, and Miz is delivering the it kicks to Reigns as Miz winds up for the last one. Reigns catches him and hits a sit down power bomb for a near fall. Reigns starts to set up with a Superman punch. Reigns leaps and Miz sidesteps and catches Reigns with a skull-crushing finale. He pins and only gets 2. Reigns kicks out. Whoever thought he wouldn't. Miz is frustrated. Reigns gets his feet slowly as Miz runs toward him. Reigns cracks him with a Superman punch. Reigns pins, but Miz gets the shoulder up just in time. Reigns slaps his hands on the canvas and stands up. He starts setting up for a spear, but Cesaro and Sheamus appear and pull him out of the ring, and then the ref calls for disqualification because of Sheamus and Cesaro. So Roman Reigns wins the match because Sheamus and Cesaro interfered, or Miz wins the match because, Sheamus and Cesaro appeared at the end after the match. Miz and Cesaro and Sheamus all team up and assault Reigns with their respective finishers. Cesaro hits a neutralizer. Sheamus, which I'm glad they brought that back. I noticed that had disappeared for a while, and I not really sure why. But I'm assuming they could end up utilizing him as a singles guy pretty soon. I hope they do not break this tag team up because Raw has a problem already with tag teams or lack thereof, and they don't need these guys leaving. Anyway, neutralizer, brogue kick, skull crushing finale, and then the 3 of them pick up Reigns, and I gotta say, it was a hell of a job for Miz, and they hit that the Shield's 3-man powerbomb move on Roman Reigns. So that was a big thing, and obviously more story building towards the Shield. Then you had Finn Balor come out, and after that you had a commercial break, and then you had Finn come out. Finn was talking about Bray, saying don't sing it, bring it, and basically telling him, I don't care how many kids that you have singing, he's got the whole world in his hands. If you had the whole world in your hands, you wouldn't know what to do with it, and just cutting him down the way he should be cut down, because Bray Wyatt's character isn't shit enough already. But Bray then comes on the screen, as he usually does, in that dark, misty background, and I have to be honest, this whole angle between Bray and Balor, this should have had title implications. It does not. I do not see it having title implications anytime in the near future, which means that, just let it be over with. I mean, these guys aren't doing either one of themselves any favors whatsoever by staying in the same feud forever and ever and ever and ever. I mean, Bray kind of teased the coming of Sister Abigail, whoever that is. I mean, for all we know, it's going to be Alicia Fox. Don't waste my time. Don't. Something like Sister Abigail should really come out during a title match, not for some blow-off feud like this. And that's what this is at this point, is a blow-off feud, because they've got nothing for Bray, they've got nothing for Balor, so just let it be over with. I mean, no one's hyped to see another match between these two. Balor even said during his promo that I've beaten you twice. Once as the Demon, and once as the Man. And then Bray's like, oh, you lied to me, blah, 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 blah. Well, no, he didn't lie to you. You just got your ass kicked twice. So, what? What, we're just supposed to believe that these guys have super cosmic powers or something? Like, there's a thing is kayfabe in wrestling, and then there's just going way over the top. This is over the top. I realize they're looking for their next Undertaker, because Undertaker is retired. But the fact is that Balor has a better chance of coming across as a better Undertaker than Wyatt. Wyatt's win-loss ratio is bad. And I mean, it's bad. So if you look it up, it's like 140 something to 430 something. I mean, it's bad. So Wyatt needs some spit shine and some freaking tarnish before he becomes a thing, because he's not a thing right now. He is a waste of everyone's time. He's becoming a jobber. He needs to do some beating up of some jobbers and let some other people move up while he rebuilds. And that's really what needs to happen with him. Anyway, then you had a tag team match between Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Emma and Alicia Fox. Obviously, it don't take a fucking brain surgeon to figure out who won this one. Bayley hit a Bayley to belly on Alicia Fox after Emma walked out on her during a tag. I mean, Emma just was like, holding her hand out like she was going to tag to Alicia Fox, and then was like, nope, bye, why? What do you stand to gain by doing that? I mean, it felt to me like a dumb segment and just a waste of a match. You could have had a cruiserweight match here. I mean, this was such a blatantly obvious attempt at trying to get over Bayley again. Because I've noticed that they've been giving Bayley wins. They've actually are having her win. Ooh, wow. There's a friggin', idea. Have Bayley win. Then maybe you can get her over and throw her in a title match that she earned. Not like you did at SummerSlam, where you just randomly inserted her in. But, the fact remains is that it was okay. And, Emma, I wish nothing but the best for Emma, but I see a lot of jobs coming from at her expense once Asuka walks in. And her and Asuka have a very long history against each other in NXT. So I would not be surprised if, sooner or later she does end up having to eat a pin from Asuka. So we'll see. Then at the end, you had the cruiserweights, and, I don't even want to talk that much about this segment. I will say this, though. At the end, what happened was that Kurt Angle came out and said that, your no contact clause may, include everyone at ringside, because Neville came out basically with all his banditos from the cruiserweight division that, that his no contact clause didn't apply to the newest signee that he just signed today. That was Kalisto. Yay. Good. It's what you should have done in the first place. When you created this division. So Kalisto goes out there, kicks Enzo's ass, and that's the end of the show. Actually, excuse me, kicks Enzo's ass, and then the end of the show was, you had Roman Reigns sitting in there feeling his ribs and everything, and then you had Dean Ambrose show up on his right, and Seth Rollins show up on his left. They didn't do any hand gestures. They didn't say anything. It's just they looked at each other in silence, and then Raw went off the air. As far as what's happening with Enzo Amore, you know how I feel. I spent half the video telling you about it, so I'm not even gonna talk about that. As far as this thing with the Shield, you already know how I feel about that. You better give them some game-ass competition. Otherwise, you are wasting our time. So, that's your Raw review for today, Monday. And, I'll be back tomorrow with a SmackDown Live review. Hopefully tomorrow, at the very latest Wednesday afternoon before NXT. I also want to, just want to say that, tomorrow's the go-home show for SmackDown right before Hell in a Cell. So, I hope SmackDown does not disappoint, because, I'm hearing these things, like Jinder's going to have the belt until WrestleMania. I hope they're wrong. I really do, because nobody wants to see Jinder as the champion until WrestleMania. I don't think anybody wants to see Brock as the champion until WrestleMania. It's a stupid decision to have two guys that hold your top titles be a champ for almost the whole year. Or your whole business year. Ridiculous. Absolutely unacceptable. Just, there's championship reigns, and then there's hot potatoing the titles, which I think you've done enough with the U.S. title. You've done enough hot potatoing, but I don't think any title reign, for the most part, unless you are really looking to break a record, which, they were trying to do with the New Day and Demolition, because Demolition was part of that suit about, concussions. So I think they did that legitimately to undermine Demolition's relevance in WWE history. But bottom line, man, You go up against corporate, you're going to end up paying for it. And really, what I'm hoping to see is Enzo open his big mouth against corporate and have to pay for it. Because at this point, it don't look like he's paying for it. And I want him to pay for it. Anyway, it's getting pretty close to midnight over here out west. I'm just gonna close the show with that. I will be back tomorrow for SmackDown. So I'm Gary Maloney here for Sacktown Slam, and I am signing off.